We live in a world of constant outrage, and a simple scroll on one's phone will reveal the latest crisis that you are supposed to be worried about. It is within this climate, and especially within Africa, that Beter Reinders is constantly in search of stories of hope. And we are particularly interested in the area of land reform, as this is such a divisive topic in a place like South Africa. So, in search of thought leadership, especially on agriculture, we've ended up in probably one of the most unlikely places in the world to find it, in Zimbabwe.
You only develop a community if you develop the individuals in that community.
Zimbabwe is a place of hope, not hopelessness.
Big miracle which is happening in this place where you see crops flourishing.
We believe that Africa is the most exciting continent ever.
If we can just plant that heart, plant that mind to see something changing. Jesus has said, you are the right people at the right time to do this.
My name is Peter Cunningham, and I moved to Bulawayo after finishing a poultry science degree and started to farm ostriches in 1986. And by 1994-95 we had one of the more significant and exciting ostrich businesses in the country. We started at that stage to feel that we needed to put a percentage of our profits aside to help those who didn't have, which we were doing. And one day in 1996 my older brother came, who was working with us at the time, and he said, you know, we've got this all wrong. We think that these are poor people who need our help. Actually, they're rich people on a rich continent, and that they need to know who they are in Jesus, who they are in life, and that we need to help them find themselves, and that there's immense riches in there, and that we need to change our business from where we're a commercial farmer making money to where we're connecting with them and helping them to outgrow with us. So 1996 we started a trial outgrower program, and we put a sum of money aside and some birds, gave the farmers day-old chicks and brought them back at 5 or 6 months old. And it was just amazingly successful. The unlocking of entrepreneurial spirit, the passion that people had, the sense of ownership, and their results were far better than our commercial results and what we were able to do on our commercial operations.
What we are doing in essence is we are unlocking the productive potential of Africa, and we believe that that productive potential lies in her people. The majority of whom are small-scale farmers who have access to land and who have access to natural resources, but don't have access to markets, don't have access to training, don't have access to inputs. What distinguishes what we do and what other organizations do is that we actively engage partners. Small-scale farmers are not projects, they're not people to be patronized, they're not people we're just trying to rescue from poverty by giving them handouts. Zimbabwe is a nation where there's a lot of land. The bulk of it is not as productive as it was. But we believe that things do not need to go back to where they were. If the small-scale farmers have the land, we have proven that we can actually use them and their land and their abilities to be able to really start producing fruitfully and successfully.
What we've found is that the passion and personal energy that the small-scale farmers put into it really increases the efficiency to a level that chain is very productive. And so at the moment we work with about 700 of our employed workers in the company that are in the value chains, the breeding side, the processing factories, etc. And then a few thousand small-scale farmers who are doing the most of the production work. And we have very exciting models where we have an open book and we look at the profits together and we work out how to do the payments so that everybody is fed.
They set up what we call committees, and these farmers come together in each area to set up these committees that then choose the farmers that are going to be farming chickens. And these farmers, we offer them feed, we offer them chicks, and they become the mothers of those chicks in terms of rearing them and keeping them until the time of slaughter, where we buy back those chickens and sell them minus the costs of rearing all those chickens, of which they make a profit share after that. This current batch that you see that is in this place will make this lady 18 to 20,000 rand in one cycle, and most of these farmers do 6 cycles.
Hi, my name is Jaco. I'm doing chickens for 7 years. It's helped me to improve my life with my family, to help us to do some things that we can enjoy with our family. So my children, they love these chickens because they are helping us to improve our life. Sometimes I can play music for my chickens so that they must wake up and eat.
Land reform started in 2000 in Zimbabwe, and that came with huge challenges for the whole industry. At that stage, 80% of our production was being grown out by small-scale farmers and villagers, and we had very close relationships. We had a massive challenge where we were moved off the farm, and it was very humbling and very emotional for us to see how community and people stood by us and stood with us and stood for us when we couldn't stand for ourselves.
The thing and the tension which has been growing up in this country of the land grab and things like that, this farm was also targeted and it was almost taken, but I saw the communities standing up and rallying behind to say no, this farm has to stay, and yeah, indeed it stayed behind because they realized the potential and the fruits which are coming out of this place. It was actually an amazing thing, and I could see God's hand in that, because no farm has been taken and also brought back. No, it doesn't happen in this country, but in this one it happened because the community stood up.
And at that stage, God had asked us to build a dam, which was another long story, and we were just completing the dam and praying over what were we building this dam for, and God showed us that we needed to build an agricultural discipleship training college, which we did, which is called Ebenezer.
Ebenezer is I call it an agricultural Bible business training school for young Zimbabweans, so between the ages of 18 to 23 years old. And they come and join us here for 2 years. They live on site, it's residential. And while they're with us, we hope that they develop a real relationship with Jesus and also get to know how to farm, but not only to farm, but to use farming as a business. Because we have a real passion to see young people released into rural areas who love Jesus and can make a living. So at the moment, we've got about 100 apprentices on site, and they're working in 4 different agricultural areas. There's cropping, dairy, layers, and broilers, which are chickens for meat. And while they're with us, they actually earn profits. So it's very, very practical. And an apprentice is put into a particular area. So somebody might be in a tomato field, and they sign an MOU, and based on how much that tomato field's produced, they then earn some money, which is set aside for their graduation. So that when they finish at Ebenezer, they've got some seed capital to go on and do either further training or to start their own business if that's what they want to do.
To other Zimbabwean youth, and I would just like to encourage them that they must do farming, just because farming is an engine of everything. Through farming you can live, through farming you can survive. It's an industry which has never ever been closed.
I'm looking forward to graduate in 4 months to come. So I would like to be a broiler farmer. Starting by being a broiler farmer, into being a dairy farmer, because it's my dream to be one of the dairy farmers, the biggest dairy farmers in Africa.
This college started to become absolutely revolutionary. It was just so exciting to see God changing lives, to see young people with a whole different vision, and to see people with capacity to get out and get started. And as we did that, and they started to go back into their communities, we found that this opened the door for other people to see this is what could be.
The vast majority of the poor people in our communities in places like Southern Africa and anywhere else are involved in agricultural activities. And so without a turnaround in agriculture, you're not really going to impact these people's lives. My wife and I really believe that Zimbabwe will turn around, and that we want to be part of the turnaround. We want to make a contribution to the turnaround. The United States is a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to be, but it's kind of like an engine that's already functioning, and a person can just be a cog, and if you take that cog out, the engine's still going to keep going. But here there's a real sense of purpose, a real sense that you can help your fellow man and have a positive impact. And we really felt drawn to that, to the point where we just we took a leap of faith and we came back.
We often share the parable of the talents. The king went away, he gave one, another one 2, another one 5. And if you look at Africa, Africa's been given the most incredible talents. And in that parable it says, the king gave to each according to their ability. So we're saying, God wouldn't give us talents that we don't know how to use. And God has given the most incredible talents in land, in water, in minerals, in resources to Zimbabwe and to Africa. So He's also given us the ability to use those talents.
The potential of Africa is bigger than anybody could ever imagine. And that if we can unlock that potential, if we can reach especially the young people, a new generation, and shape skills, shape vision, shape eternal perspectives, which drive integrity issues, which drive caring for people issues, I believe that there's an enormous potential and very exciting future.
This is a story of a Bulawayan family running a very successful commercial farm in dire political and economic conditions. But the story doesn't stop there. You see, instead of viewing the local community as something in need of handouts and charity, they've actively incorporated them into the heart and soul of the company by partnering with literally hundreds of small-scale farmers, providing them with training, resources, and the market. But the story doesn't stop there either. They started an agricultural college, giving training to hundreds of aspiring young farmers, not only training them in their agricultural abilities, but also in their walk with Christ. If you think that this is a little bit impossible, given the images that we have of Africa and of Zimbabwe, then I'm sure the folks here would agree with you, which is why they give all the credit to God. And it is because of their faith in Him that they are extremely hopeful about the future of this country and the future of this continent.